Welcome to rSlash I Don't Work Here Lady, where a Karen tries to rip OP's clothes off. Our next Reddit post is from Deleted. The title of this post is, "Ma'am, just because I'm Latino, that doesn't mean that I work at this Mexican restaurant." A couple of days ago, I went into one of my favorite restaurants, a Mexican restaurant, to pick up a takeout order. When I got there, the hostess told me that it might take an extra few minutes because they've been bombarded by orders. That wasn't an issue, so I just waited. While I'm waiting for the hostess to come back with my food from the kitchen, I see some people I know at a table eating. They wave me over, so I go to say hi to talk to them in Spanish while I'm waiting. For clarity, we're all Latinos. Next thing I know, I hear a woman say, "Excuse me, excuse me." It took me a minute to figure out that she was talking to me because I looked around and I didn't see an actual waitress. I make eye contact with the woman and say, "Is there anything I can help you with?" She rolls her eyes and replies, "Yes, I've been standing here for 10 minutes and you refuse to even acknowledge me. I want a table for me and my friends." I tell her that I don't work at the restaurant, which she refuses to believe. "I just saw you talking to seated customers and you clearly look like you work here." Mind you, I'm dressed in jeans, a sweater, and a mask. That's it. I firmly tell her that I don't work here, so just leave me alone. Then I just turn away from her when I see the hostess come back from the kitchen. This is when she starts yelling. The hostess runs up and asks what's going on, and the woman tells her, "You have this rude," insert racial slur about Latinos, "working here who refuses to do her job. All she wants to do is talk to her friends at that table. I've been waiting for over 10 minutes for a table while she ignores me. It is ridiculous that you would hire someone like that." When she called me a racial slur, everybody stopped what they were doing to listen. This didn't hurt my feelings at all, because I know this was coming from a total random lady who's just the worst. The hostess tells the Karen that I don't work here, that calling me a slur is disgusting, and to get out and never come back. The woman just stutters a few times before storming out, saying stuff under her breath. I pay for my food and leave a huge tip, all while the owner is apologizing to me about what happened. I told her it was all good. And honestly, it was way more embarrassing for the screaming woman who had all the color drop from her face when the owner told her that I was a customer and for her to just get out. So I don't understand. I mean, I'm not like a racist, so I have trouble getting into the racist mentality. If you're a racist person who calls Mexicans a certain racial slur, then why would you go eat in a Mexican restaurant? I don't get it. Like, is that just the power of the burrito, that it transcends all hatred and just contempt for fellow human beings, that it doesn't matter how much someone hates Mexicans, they still just love burritos, so they have no choice but to go to Mexican restaurants? Is that how it works? Our next Reddit post is from Kyryu Jin. Background: I work for a third-party logistics company, nothing too fancy. As an example of what we do, one of our clients is a local chain that hires us to fulfill their online sales. Every so often, we receive more orders than we have the inventory to fill, and when this happens, I'll usually volunteer to go to one of the actual stores and pick up the merchandise we need to get us through our next restock. I've been mistaken for an employee there dozens, if not hundreds of times by this point. And I can't even blame the customers because I'm often seen carrying around merchandise and I'm often wearing a safety vest. By this point, I know my way around the stores better than a lot of the actual employees. Most of the time I just help the customer because it's usually an easy problem and I try to be a nice person. That's a lie. I'm actually just horrible at saying no. However, I had never actually met a Karen until this incident. It's also worth noting that since I'm not an actual employee of the store, I'm not allowed in the back for any reason. Someone in China ordered 200 American flag coffee cups for some reason, so I'm visiting my friends to get the merchandise so we can fill this order. They go to the back to get the coffee mugs for me, and I just start browsing the t-shirts because it'll take like 2 minutes to get the mugs. That's when a lady approaches. "Excuse me, could you show me where the blue t-shirts are?" I thought this was a little weird since I was wearing a blue t-shirt and shorts while the store employees all wore red polos. But she seemed nice so far, and I actually did know where the shirts were since I had bought one for myself here not too long ago. "Yeah, they're right over here. I can show you." "Thank you." I lead her literally 20 feet over to a massive display with a mannequin wearing the shirt and everything. "There you go," and I start walking away. "I already know about these. You're out of large size, so go get me one and be quick about it because I'm in a hurry." Oh, I'm sorry, but you'll need to find an employee to go to the back to check to see if they have more. Yeah, go do it. Oh, I don't actually work here. You're wearing your work shirt. I look down, and sure enough, I am indeed wearing the shirt that I'd bought here earlier, and she wanted it in her size now. To be clear, this is definitely not a work shirt, but it's the same brand as the store with a big logo on the front. Millennials are so effing stupid. I told you I'm in a hurry, so effing get me a shirt so I can effing go already. Ma'am, I'm not an employee. F you! And she grabs me by my ponytail and tries to lift the shirt over my head. I guess she wanted my shirt now? For the record, I am clearly not a large, but I guess she wasn't thinking enough for that to make sense. By this point, my shirt is completely over my head, and I'm just twisting trying to get it back down before my bra is displayed to the whole world, and my hand hits something. The Karen stops trying to rip my shirt off, and I immediately pull my shirt back down to see Karen sitting on the ground holding her face. We stare at each other for a few seconds, both obviously in shock at what just happened, before she stands up and just storms out of the store. An employee who I'm pretty good friends with comes over and asks what just happened, and I just say that I had no effing idea. Eventually the manager gets back and we go watch the security camera, and it turns out that I nailed her right in the cheek with a closed fist. The manager asked me if I was alright, and I just laughed it off saying that I was probably better off than she was. So every once in a while, I'll read one of these stories and I'll be like, oh, come on, there's no way this is real. And then I'll go to Reddit, like r/public freakout or r/videos or whatever, and I'll see videos of people doing worse than this for pretty much no reason. Like just the other day, I saw this video where a guy went to go order something at like Wendy's or whatever, and he wasn't wearing a mask, and they didn't serve him because he wasn't wearing a mask. And his response was to pull down his pants, plop his junk onto the counter, and then pee all over the front counter. And it's like, oh yeah, right. People really are this level of insane. Our next Reddit post is from Ramrod Ron. I'm a flight attendant for a major airline. Several years ago, I lived in Miami Beach in an oceanfront apartment building. Several floors of this building were operated as a hotel, but it was mostly residences. The parking garage was underneath the building. Okay, you get the picture. I had just worked a long international trip, and I was exhausted. I got home, parked my car, and got to the elevator. The elevator stopped on the lobby level, and a couple who had just checked into the hotel entered. The husband saw my uniform and started loudly griping about their flight to Miami. It was something like, we were stuck in Houston for 5 hours and they didn't give us a hotel room. Now, I take a lot of abuse from people who need to vent, and it mostly just rolls off my back, but that's when I'm on the clock working. I couldn't believe that I was getting chewed out in my own home about some airline thing. I was tired and over it after a 10-hour flight, so I just let him have it. I said, you had a stopover in Houston, so I'm guessing you must have flown on United, right? He said yes. Well, I don't work for United, and even if I did, I still wouldn't give a shit. This is where I live. How dare you get in my face in my own home to gripe about your minor inconvenience? I don't remember everything I said, but by the time I reached my floor, he was backed up against the elevator wall. I do remember shouting, "Bye-bye," as I stomped out of the elevator. I used to be a people person, but people ruined that. Yeah, OP, people suck. Have you met people? Persons are okay. There's like 10 individual persons that I like to hang out with, but for the most part, people suck. Our next Reddit post is from SG Canadian. For this particular story, I was actually in military uniform, which makes the whole situation all the more weird. The Canadian working uniform for the Army is a digital camouflage pattern called CADPAT. It's pretty unique and identifiable. The employees in the store that I was visiting wears black pants with tan-colored collared shirts. I had just gotten off of work, so I was on my way home and I stopped for groceries. Our command lets us stop in uniform on the way home to do this. They see it as a visual recruiting tactic, and it lets people know that we're in the community. As I was looking at the milk trying to decide what to buy, a little old lady came up to me and asked for help. What threw me off initially was that she referred to me by my rank, gunner. She explained that her grandson was a bombardier in a regular force artillery regiment. She was struggling to lift the milk bags. And I feel like I should clarify. When OP says that she was struggling to lift her milk bags, Canadians buy milk in bags rather than cartons, so OP's not talking OP's not talking about her boobs. Milk bags are actual bags filled with milk. I decided that I would help her shop and at least get her groceries into her car for her. I spent a good 45 minutes with her helping her shop around. My interaction with the Karen came as soon as the old lady was checking out. Now that you're done with her, you can get my things for me. Sorry, ma'am, but I don't work here. I have my own shopping to do. I'm sure one of the bag boys or stalkers could help you out. You clearly work here. You got all that old bat stuff for her, so I demand that you help me. He really isn't an employee. He's a soldier just helping an old woman with some shopping. I don't care what he says he is. He clearly knows the store, so he must work here. You're done shopping, so he can help me now. At this point, the Karen was getting louder and was attracting attention. Ma'am, I really don't work here. If you could lower your voice, I could help you find an employee if you really need some assistance. Don't you tell me what to do, boy! At this point, a manager showed up due to the commotion. Good afternoon. Is there anything I can help you with? Yes, this boy is refusing to help me after he helped another customer. This is terrible customer service, and he should be fired. He clearly doesn't work here. He's a gunner in the Canadian Armed Forces. He's wearing a military uniform and everything. He definitely doesn't work here. We don't have any soldiers that work in the store, even reservists, which I assume he is. You all have terrible customer service. Haven't you ever heard of the customer's always right? I'm calling corporate and I will never shop here again. That's perfectly fine. The door is right this way. Then he escorted the Karen outside with her yelling the whole way. Well, that's enough excitement for this old woman. Hopefully the rest of your day is much more peaceful. I'll have my son come pick me up. Go do your shopping and thanks for helping me. Anytime, ma'am. And tell your grandson thanks from Gunner OP with such and such regiment. I then went to finish up my shopping and just get the hell out of there. The store manager was waiting for me at the front and opened a register for me to check out. He gave me the store employee discount too, saying, "You clearly work here after all," with an accompanying wink and laugh. He then told me that he was a reservist while going through university and he thanked me for what I did. Alright, so now that I'm at the end of the story, I've got to ask, how many of you people who are non-Canadians got to the part where she was like, "Excuse me, sir, can you help me with my milk bags?" and genuinely thought that this old lady was talking about her boobs? If that's you, be sure to hit the like button and let me know down in the comments, because I'm curious how many people got caught by that. That was rSlash and if you like this content, check out my Patreon where I publish extra episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.